Okay, this is a working informational video on how I convert barbecues from propane to gas or gas to propane. This video is strictly for information. It's not designed to be an instructional video on how to do barbecues, but it's going to give you a good idea of what has to happen to convert from one gas to the other. Okay, LP to gas or gas to LP. So, barbecue, okay, you got your tube coming in here, tube. Once you turn the knobs, gas goes up into here, goes up into burners, the igniter ignites it, bam, you have fire, okay? There's electronics involved, obviously, okay? These knobs, they pull off, and then you're going to see little shanks here like this on most barbecue units. On some, there might be a difference, but usually this is the way a barbecue is laid out, okay? The barbecues are always rated, at least the main body of the barbecue. This is a 48-inch unit, so it's got a large amount of space in it. It's going to have actually 4 burners and then a central burner, which is a smoker burner, where you put a smoker box. The box, there's fire underneath it, and then it smokes the wood in there. As well, there's these guys. I'm sure you've seen these before on barbecue units. These are infrared burners. On a 48-inch unit, you're going to have 2 of these guys, okay? The plumbing is going to come back through the back here, come up into a shield, which is not in place here because I've stripped this down to nothing, and then it hooks into here, and then the heat comes out of here, and then it's a rotisserie burner, so the rotisserie is going to be in front of this heat source. Okay, so one of the things, there's basically 4 things that have to be replaced on a barbecue, okay? Or that have to be changed on a barbecue. There's only 2 things that generally have to be replaced. One is the orifices, okay? This is one example of an orifice. Let me show you the various examples that I have. Okay, those are examples of orifices right there. Hang on one second here. I can't really see it too well because it's... Okay. These are examples of orifices that go into a barbecue, those little brass guys, okay? So you're dealing usually with this type of orifice or that type of orifice. This one here is going to be usually in a smoker unit. If you see one of these at all, this one here is only found on Gen Air type barbecues as far as I've seen, and these ones are rarely found, but they're also jetted orifices too. This one here I consider a bullet orifice, and then this one here will actually have a longer shank on it, and it's especially one also that I've seen on Gen Air units as well, but I haven't seen them on anything else. The burner units for barbecues going to be tube style, okay? Now if you're talking about high-end barbecues, they're going to be like this one here. So let me get a good video on that, and I'll swap the. See if I can swap it. Oh shoot. Okay. Anyway, that is that's the one that's in this one here, okay? But you'll either see that style or you'll see the tube style. The tube style is what's in most barbecues. Sometimes you'll see these to where there'll be a U. There's various configurations for these depending on the barbecue. Okay. The 4 things that get swapped out in a barbecue to do propane to gas or gas to propane swap is going to be the orifices, okay, the fuel regulator, okay, because barbecue ones are always dedicated. You never see these to where they're able to be converted. If this was a stove, you'd have a conversion on here, but this one is a barbecue. So this one here is going to give you a rating, and let me see here. Yeah, see, LP gas regulator, so that means it's liquid propane, and there's usually going to be a rating. If it's not on the unit, it's going to be in the packaging somewhere to tell you what the output of this. With an LP gas regulator, you're looking at either 10 or 11 inches of water column, and that's 10. It's basically stated as 10, and then you'll have the inch symbol there, and then you'll have W period C period. That's what the rating is going to be on these guys. If it's a gas, usually you're looking at about 4 inches of water column, okay? And it's going to have a much different rating. Sometimes they'll go up to 6, they're all over the map. So, the holes that you drill in these are going to be dependent on what the rating of that unit is and what the heat rating of each burner is. And again, when you see the sign, when you see the label on a barbecue, it's going to be rated, like let's say it's got 3 burners in there, 36,000 BTU. That means that each burner is rated at 12,000 BTU. You have to divide that by however many burners you're talking about, okay? Now this one here has this style burner, okay? So let me just kind of show you what goes on here. This style burner here has a mixture. It has gas coming in here, and then it's got air coming in. Now, these shutters usually go in place. I'm restoring this unit, so it's not in place right now, but if it were, it would have this shutter in place, and this shutter would be cocked however wide it needs to be to get the air and the gas mixture set up properly, okay? On this unit here, this one also has a shutter at the end. The orifice fits right through the end here, okay? Fits right through the end, fits on there. It's going to be resting right on the orifice like that, okay? But to get the air mixture right, there is a little shutter that you have to unscrew a little bit, and then you can actually open it to let more air in, close it to let less air in. So that adjusts an air-fuel mixture that goes through this little venturi here. This is where this area is squeezed, is venturi. And the reason it's like that is because when you have gas going through a burner and projecting into a combustion chamber, this venturi accelerates the gas and draws air in so that the air-fuel mixture is burned here. And when you see a flame coming out of one of these guys, you're either going to see blue or green. If you're seeing a lot of yellow in there, it's going to be a pretty steady flame as a rule, unless there's wind. If you're seeing a lot of yellow involved there and there's no wind involved, that means that the air or the mixture is hopping. That means that the air-fuel mixture isn't adjusted properly, and you kind of have to tweak these guys to get them just right. And you want to do this when these are cold, okay? So, basic conversion, okay? Well, the orifices that I showed you, this unit uses these style orifices. A lot of units use these style. If you're dealing with more expensive units, you're going to deal usually with these style of orifices, okay? Those orifices are actually behind where you turn the gas on, and you see how the knob is here. You turn this knob, it has an igniter attached, so it'll ignite the burner, okay? And then you turn it to whatever heat, okay? The orifices are actually in there. So hang on. Okay, so the orifices are actually in there. You can see this orifice right here, okay? Here's the knob right here. That turns on the gas. It goes up into there. This isn't connected, obviously, but you kind of get the idea, okay? So, once you've changed the orifice, okay, now you have to drill these orifices to whatever heat range you're going to be using. So there's very specific rules about how big that hole has to be in the orifice. Okay, once you've determined what that is, you're going to swap the new orifices in for the old orifices. Okay, and again, this one here is going to be a tube, right? It's going to go right in the middle here, right? But those ones are going to go in the middle of that burner there. Okay, so you're going to take this, or you're going to usually go in through the back here. You're going to unscrew that orifice. You're going to replace it. Okay. Depending on your unit, you're probably going to want to use Teflon tape just so you don't have a leak. Okay. That way, and if you take one of these units apart, by the way, if you don't use Teflon tape, you're a fool, because you're going to be having gas leaks all over the place. So every connection on one of these pipes has to be Teflon taped together. Okay. So this here comes out. I'm just going to kind of demonstrate here. And you don't have to pull your pipe out. I'm just pulling it out for demonstration purposes here. This is the control panel, okay, which I'm just going to set aside here. Oops. Put this up here. Okay. We're going to just set this on the table right here. Okay, so the parts that are going to be swapped out are going to be these, okay? They're going to be drilled to the correct size. You're going to replace the regulator. You're either going to go from LP to gas or gas to LP for the regulator, okay? You're going to change out the air shutter, okay? Once you have it burning, you're going to change out the air shutter, or this style air shutter, okay? And the final adjustment is going to be a low flame adjustment. If you look deeply inside here, there's actually a screw down deep into this knob here. And what you have to do is you have to fit a little miniature jeweler screwdriver in there and tweak it, and that's going to give you your low flame setting once you have it all set up. Okay, you know, the knob pulls off, right? So you pull this knob off. Oops, get this knob off. Okay, knob pulls off, and that's going to be your air-fuel mixture right there. Okay, so that's basically it. That's what it takes to do a LP to gas or gas to LP conversion on a barbecue. And you know, there's instructions available out there. This video is not really designed to be instructional, it's designed to be informational, but you know, check it out, you know, and when you find the pieces, you can do the conversion. Barbecues don't generally come with orifices, barbecue makers don't generally offer orifices, but they are available. I actually am in the business of doing orifices for customers. So thanks for watching. Okay, and one last bit of detail here. Okay, so let's say you're going to do a conversion on a barbecue and you got to get the parts. Well, first of all, you got to figure out which style orifices you're going to use. You're usually going to either use one of these or these style orifices, okay? And rarely you'll use the bullet orifice, which is like that, or this little tiny guy right here, okay? But figure out what you need, okay? The number of knobs is going to determine what you're going to be using, or how many orifices you're going to need. In this case here, you actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So what that means is you've got these two here will handle burners down below, and these two will handle burners down below here. But two other knobs will make the top burners. These guys ignite. These are the rotisserie burners, okay? Now I showed you the orifices on these guys here, right? Which are these little guys, these little pieces right here. Well, these also have orifices, but you have to take these out of the backing to get to the orifice, and the orifice is right here. So this has to be removed as well, and you have to know what the BTU rating is. And the BTU rating on these is going to be done usually per burner, okay? Sometimes collectively, usually per burner. So you're going to have to determine from the output what the actual BTU rating is. A typical BTU rating on one of these guys is about 13,000 BTU, somewhere in that range, but they do vary. So make sure that you got that right, because you don't want to be overheating these. Okay, so that's basically it. This unit here will use, again, the same number of orifices as you have knobs. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 knobs, that means that it uses 7 orifices. So if you're ordering orifices from me, I'm going to ask you how many knobs you have, and that's how many orifices I'm going to provide. I'm going to ask you which style of orifice you need, okay? And you're going to tell me. I've got several different sizes of these. Generally, there's only one size of these, okay? And these ones here are either going to be a bullet style, this one, or this one, okay? And again, this one here will usually not be just like this. It'll usually have an extension on it. And it's got to be board to size, which means I need to know the BTU rating of the burners. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Okay, this is an addendum to the barbecue on barbecue conversion. I wanted to save a couple of points of confusion that there might have been on that video. Again, it's not an instructional video, it's an informational video, but just so you know, standard barbecues don't have all the elaborate plumbing work that feeds into the burner tube, the burner tubes that come into the open pit of this barbecue. Most barbecues are very simple barbecues because they're very low dollar. This unit here is a $5,000 unit, so if you have a high dollar unit like that, yeah, you're going to see extra plumbing, okay? But the standard barbecue in the industry, what most guys have in their backyard is something to where, you're going to see a fuel regulator on this end leading into a pipe, and then this pipe is going to come across here, and then you're going to have all these knobs up front here that feed directly into the burner tubes, which are back here in the pit of the barbecue. So this one here, while it does feed additional plumbing, the standard one, and this is a central burner on one of these guys. This is the only one that's straight, but this is how most barbecues are done. Most barbecues are done with just a standard, incoming gas line, knob, bam. You got your orifice right there. Tiny little hole in the front. You can see where the gas leaks out of that, okay, and feeds the barbecue tube. That is a standard setup for most barbecues. I would say 98% of the barbecues that are out there on the market or in use right now are like this, okay? The tube goes up right here, it feeds through there, feeds into the burner tubes, and then your fire, is ignited. Most of those barbecues have additional lines that come into the back and then feed those infrared burners, or whatever you want to call them, rotisserie burners, whatever. Everybody uses a different name for them. Okay? Now, there is one other type of orifice out there, and I did make mention about it earlier in the video. Okay? And I did want to show you an example of that, just so you'll know. And this is probably, less than 1% of all the barbecues that are out there. Specifically, Gen Air barbecues. Stainless steel barbecues, a little bit more high-end, okay? They have a little bit more elaborate controls on them. They're very nice barbecues. They are really more towards the high end of barbecues, but you're not going to pay $5,000 for one of those. Now there are some Gen Airs, yeah, they're high dollar. They're going to be $5,000 units. They're 48 inches like this. Generally, these barbecues are very niche, okay? But they are out there, and they usually have 3 burners on them. They could have 5. I haven't seen one yet with 5. They'll have this type of orifice, okay? This is a hooded orifice, just like this is, okay? The difference is that the snout on the orifice is longer, okay? It's a one-piece orifice. Don't let this fool you. This is actually one piece, okay? One-piece orifice, okay, and the snout is longer, and the shank extends it further down. Also, the opening on the shank on that particular orifice is larger than the shank on this orifice here. That's the only exception that you're going to ever see where one of these is the hole, the feeder hole is larger on one of these orifices is when it's one of these guys here, okay? Very specialized. They are out there. Just be aware of that, okay? Now, if you see a barbecue with this, a Gen Air barbecue that has this type of orifice, it will also have 4 infrared burners at the back, okay? And there's usually only going to be 1. Sometimes there's 2. If it's a 48-inch, it's going to probably have 2, okay? You'll see the bullet orifice, okay? And they're the only barbecues that I know that do have a bullet orifice. So you're going to see this bullet orifice feeding that back rotisserie burner, infrared burner, whatever you want to call it. And that's the exception to the rule. Very niche again, like I said. The reason I mention that is because I do, manufacture these orifices, and I wanted to mention all the different types of orifices that were out there as far as I'm aware. And that's the difference there, okay? And that's basically it. You know, the rest of the stuff is status quo as per the video. You know, as I said, it's an informational video. It's not designed to educate or, you know, or teach you how to do it. I mean, you really want to seek out your own sources and make sure that your information is right. If you're confused about it, make sure that you contact somebody who's in the gas trade who understands how these truly work, because, you know, you can blow yourself up if you're not careful. So thanks for watching the video, and have a nice day.